Hello. Welcome back to Automate Live. My name is Jana Martin. I'm the Media Production Manager at the Association for Advancing Automation, who is, of course, the host of Automate. But as these guys know, we're also the host of the Robotic Grinding and Finishing Conference, which is going to be this July in Minneapolis at the Hyatt Regency, the 22nd and the 23rd. Don't miss it. Put it on your calendars. But let me go ahead and introduce my panel here before we get started. I'm joined by Ian Foslien, the Global Robotics and Automation Director at 3M Abrasives, Nick Orf, the Global Application Engineering Leader, also at 3M Abrasives, and Dave Herrington, the Portfolio VP at 3M Abrasives. It's great to have the Abrasives crew here with us today.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. Dave, let's start with you. 3M is leading a lot of innovation in robotics and automation. How do you see 3M's role in the context of smart manufacturing and robotic material removal?
Yeah, that's a great question. 3M's, been doing abrasives for over 100 years. It's one of our original technologies. So we are going to continue to innovate in abrasive technology. That's just what we do. But that being said, as the world is requiring more and more out of automation, we have to pivot from being just abrasive experts to being process experts. And so what we're doing is taking all of our hundreds of years of process expertise in abrasives and applying that into robotics and automation. And the way we're doing that is to partner with our automation partners and really help integrate our knowledge into the form and the function and the processes and making sure that we're an integral part of these systems. So it's kind of taking abrasive knowledge and turning it into programming logic and integration into equipment.
Amazing. And so you're diving into global strategy across abrasives and automation. What are some of the biggest shifts you're seeing in customer expectations or challenges right now?
Yeah, I'll take that one too. I mean, for sure, labor shortage is real. I mean, we're seeing that everywhere. That's not a new concept for everybody who is involved in automation. But I think it was specifically when it comes to finishing and grinding and abrasives, the challenge is those are also jobs that people don't want to do very much. They're dirty, they're hard, and so when there's a labor shortage, they suffer even more. So the more that we can find ways to automate that, the more that we can make that easier for our customers to still be able to run their operations. And then finally, quality. Quality is really important, especially when you think about finishing and polishing, and you need repeatability there. So again, when you need repeatability, automation comes in handy. So that's kind of how all that comes together for 3M.
So, Nick, you're presenting on understanding abrasive applications here at Automate. What are some of the most misunderstood elements when it comes to applying abrasives to robotic systems?
Yeah, I think there are some differences versus a lot of the applications that are maybe more well known for robotic automation, like welding or painting or pick and place. With robotic abrasive processes or finishing, you have to be in constant contact with that surface over a changing geometry. And the parts that we receive sometimes change from piece to piece as well. So there's a lot of variability in the process that's introduced. Humans are very good at adapting to that change in process. They can adapt by applying a little more pressure here, going a little faster there, and adapting to changes in the abrasive product itself as well. So some of the things that need to be included and are misunderstood are around having force management around the abrasive processing to ensure that the right amount of material is removed and the finishing process is consistent. Also, management of abrasive change and abrasive performance change over the life of the abrasive has to be considered. The abrasive is as good as it's going to get out of the box, and it changes from there. So we have to have strategies to make sure we manage that correctly as well.
Yeah, right. So what's a common mistake maybe that you see manufacturers make when they're automating their grinding and finishing processes, and how could they maybe get this right the first time?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's actually a mistake, but maybe an improvement opportunity. So many people will take a look at their manual processes and automate exactly what they see in their manual processes. So they'll use the same tool, the same abrasive, and the same method. And what we'd recommend is just to take a step back and look at the process and try to understand what might be the best method to optimize the performance of and the throughput of that scenario. Robots have the capability of managing higher capacities, running more consistently, doing things faster. So using tooling that has the capability to optimize performance is sometimes very, very impactful. We may choose to run a belting process with a robot where we typically see a disc being used manually. We may change the operating parameters to use higher forces or more horsepower to get more productivity. And by doing so, we'll not only reduce the labor content, but increase the productivity and the usefulness and the life of the abrasive as well.
How do you help a customer start thinking about outside of the box like that? Like, we've always done it this way. It's hard to kind of reimagine that process, I can imagine, after so many years.
Some of that's through the experience that we've gained over the 35 plus years of dealing with automating robotic processes. But we've got that experience. Others have experience in the industry too, whether it be the end of arm tooling manufacturers, the integrators that have been successfully automating these processes for years, or others in the industry. So I think having a conversation around what the possibilities are with people that have done it before is really helpful to kind of reimagine your abrasive methods and journey in automation.
That's awesome. Absolutely. So, Ian, you've seen 3M change over the last 15 years. What excites you most about this next wave of automation, especially when it comes to improving efficiency and consistency?
Yeah, and I think, just being here at Automate this week, there's so much new technology that's always coming out. A lot of the robot manufacturers, the NRM tooling manufacturers, sensors, vision systems, all of that is just really helping. So one of the biggest improvements is just making it easier for robots to be deployed and optimized for these automated abrasive processing applications. So that's definitely one of them. And one of the technology areas that, I'm really proud of, from 3M, and actually one of my colleagues, Marcus, presented on it earlier here at Automate, is around our robotic paint repair system and presented with the partnership with General Motors, Fanuc, and Envision. But that system is just phenomenal, being able to scan each and every vehicle, identify any microscopic defects that are in the clear coat surface, and then apply a unique abrasive repair process for each and every type of defect, where it's located. It's just mind-blowing that all of this is possible. So complex, real-time.
And it has to be so perfect.
And it has to be perfect. You can't introduce secondary defects or burn through the clear coat. Right. And you have to remove each and every defect to result in a flawless paint job at the end of the day when it gets delivered to the customer.
Right. And I mean, you guys are at the cutting edge of these technologies and how they're changing. How do you lead the way? How do you stay inspired? How do you kind of think outside of the box yourselves?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it too is through our partners, right? Yeah. We can't do it all ourselves, right? We rely a lot on our system integrators, technology partners, robot partners, and of arm tooling partners. And so, continuing to work with them, coming to events like this and the Robotic Grinding and Finishing Conference, and just the industry thought leaders that are going to be talking about the latest trends and innovations. That's really important for us.
What I hear is you're staying close to like what the customer's needs are too. Not this, let's make the coolest technology that we think is awesome, but what do they actually need done? And
we have a lot of customers that still do a lot of abrasive processing manually, right? That's still a majority of our business. But what we're seeing is, again, as Dave talked about earlier, right? More and more customers are wanting that productivity, that throughput, the quality, consistency, and by automating, they can ultimately save money on their abrasive spend by automating, because we can be more efficient and we know exactly how our abrasives are going to wear, so we can make sure that they're using all of the abrasive material before changing to the next disc or the next belt.
And maybe more of your smaller and medium-sized business customers who weren't able to invest in these technologies before are starting to come on board because the prices have gone down for some of these things.
And as I talked a little bit about earlier too, right, it's becoming easier to program the robots and more importantly, deploy the optimal process parameters, right, which is what Nick was talking about, right? So making sure that we're doing it correctly, utilizing the benefits of what an automated system can bring to the table and to generate that improved ROI.
Absolutely. How is 3M helping customers navigate automation as a journey, not just as a technology install?
And this is, you know, our entire team, right? Our application engineers, but we work closely with system integrators. We work closely with the customer. And then 3M, what we bring to the table is our product and process expertise. And so we'll work with system integrators or the end customer around that overall system design so that the system can deliver the process that the customer needs to meet their requirements and generate that ROI on that investment for them.
Absolutely. Well, let's jump into Robotic Grinding and Finishing Conference itself. I mean, you kind of set the stage here for us. Automate's this great kind of collaborative meeting of all of these different elements that are involved in the technology. You've got the vision, you've got the motion control, you've got the robots, but at the Robotic Grinding and Finishing Conference, it's kind of just a family event. We're here just to really hone in on this one niche specific industry here. Why do you love the event, and why are you excited to be sponsoring it again this year?
Yeah, maybe Dave.
Yeah, I'll start. I mean, for me, I've been at 3M for 25 years, but I'm relatively new to the abrasive business. And so for me, I'm just excited to learn. Like this Automate has been this great exposure to all of these things. And now to dive really deep into just the grinding and finishing space, which is what I need to learn the most and get the most exposure in. So for me, it's just a great opportunity to learn and connect with this ecosystem and this family of people that we're all in this together. So for me, it's just a great learning experience. And I'm energized.
I'll just jump in and say, check on the website. There's already an agenda posted. You can check and see who's going to be speaking about what and find out exactly what you maybe didn't know you needed to learn about robotic grinding and finishing. What would you say about this?
You know, it's all of these have been fun events. And I was involved in one of the first grinding and finishing conferences when it was the RIA. Back in the late 90s. So they're always fun events. I'd love to be able to show people, you know, what a Minnesota summer day is like. It's not this, you know, white barren space that people believe Minnesota is. But further than that, you know, we've got the opportunity to share our Customer Abrasive Methods Center and the robotic automation that we've been able to develop over the last 35 years and where it's come from there and where it is today with many demos of different processes and applications, including, you know, tooling and equipment from our partners that will be on display there as well.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because the CAM Center, for short, right? There's tours of your facility there. So is this not just an event at a hotel event center? You actually get to go and see your incredible facilities and kind of get a really better sense of what we're talking about here.
Correct.
Yeah. And then, Ian, what would you say?
Yeah, and then maybe the third part, you know, trying to, you know, Dave and Nick touched on some amazing parts I'm really excited about, but it's also during the week of the 3M Open, which is a PGA golf tournament that is named, you know, 3M's the naming sponsor for that golf tournament.
Yes.
And for anyone who registers for this conference, not only do they have the option to come to 3M Center and see all these robotic abrasive processing demos live, see what's really possible in front of them, but they also have the option to attend the 3M Open in the 3M Hospitality Suite. You know, free food, free drinks, right on the 18th green. And this year, we're also bringing automation into the 3M Hospitality Suite.
Oh.
So we're going to have a couple different robotic demos in there. And of course, one of them is going to be abrasive processing. So got to come to see exactly what we're going to be showcasing in there. But we'll be bringing automation to the 3M Open as well. to really tie these two events together.
Golfers, pack your bags. And then one other thing you mentioned is the tabletop exhibits. We already have exhibitors lined up. Many companies are excited to come bring their technologies, how they integrate into this whole ecosystem of tools. And so there's really just going to be a lot there for people to dive into.
Yeah, and 3M will have a tabletop at the conference as well. And I know there's a lot of other exhibitors and sponsors for the conference part of it.
Yeah.
And we're just really excited to be there and be a part of it and really showcase the focus on automated abrasive processing.
And I can only imagine it's been 2 years since we did this event with you. 2023 was the last one. And so how much has changed, in these last 2 years? There's going to be a lot of new cool technologies, new insights in this industry.
And for a sneak peek, again, you mentioned the agenda on the website.
Yeah.
But you can already see a lot of the topics that are on there. And,
exactly.
the technology is moving so quickly in this space. And, we've got some new cool demos in our lab that we're excited to showcase to everyone.
Excellent.
So we're just really excited for the event and hope that everyone registers and comes up to the Twin Cities in July.
Well, it sounds like a lovely place to go in July. You can go to automate.org/RGFC is the short link, and you can find all the information, register, and show up, and we'll see you there in July. Thank you, guys.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
We'll see you guys later.
Great.
Thank you.